don't know, man. Iggy Pop is like his stage fucking performance is what I look up to, and I don't know, man. He's one of the faces of rock and roll. I don't know what else to say about Iggy Pop, man. It's a fucking great record, Lust for Life. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'd say Iggy Pop and the Stooges are really the genesis of punk rock, which is so essential to the face of modern rock and roll.
Iggy Pop. Do you like more the Stooges or his solo stuff?
Stooges for me personally, but I'm good with any Iggy is good Iggy.
I'm a fan of Iggy Pop, of course. Who isn't? And this is probably his best solo album, Lust for Life. And it's not an album that I have, but I have the Stooges albums, and I really appreciate them.
You know, I guess we're bigger fans of the Stooges albums, the first, you know, the early stuff, but which is slightly more edgy and psychedelic, but yeah, very essential. I know this song, No Pussy Blues, because I saw a video of him doing it on Jules Holland online, and I think that's just an amazing performance.
Nick Cave, Grinderman. I've heard this album and I quite liked it, and I've seen him live at Roskilde Festival in Denmark, and quite liked it. So it's hard not to like Nick Cave, you know. It's true.
You see him completely wrapped up in the, you know, emotion and the character of the song, and it's definitely gives me the chills. And then the song is it's so simple, but then so minimal, then it just like explodes.
I kind of like his early stuff with the Mothers of Invention sometimes, but it's also, to me, a little bit too contrived, or a little bit too much mind, and not so much heart. So I'm not a big Zappa fan.
Yeah, I mean, Frank Zappa's, I guess we have a connection with him because he was born or raised, I think, in Baltimore. And yeah, Frank Zappa is interesting because one of the freakiest, you know, songwriters of all time, but he never did any drugs or anything like that, but he just made some of the most bizarre music. And that just goes to, I guess it goes to show that, you know, it's all about your state of mind. It's not about, you know, what kind of substances you put in your body.
I think he has luxurious facial hair.
I love Frank Zappa. I'm a huge fan, and I love all of his work. And yeah, it's been a, you know, awesome influence on me as far as music and just, you know, worldview, or just, you know, he's huge in my world, you know, musically and otherwise. Yeah, he's awesome.
Well, when we were kids, Kiss was like the frontier of fantasy with rock and roll for me, because, I mean, you know, that was at that time when I was a kid collecting Kiss records. It was like rock and roll was this magical mystery world, and they embody that really, and made it just this incredibly fun, crazy, theatrical, rocking experience. And as far as being like an influence, I would have to say probably so, because even like the first punk band I was in when I was 15 years old, we covered Detroit Rock City. But I mean, the farther I got into punk and more down-to-earth rock and roll, and I discovered music more than the whole overwhelming show of rock and roll, or the whole idea of like this, you know, this big fabulous show. I kind of steered away from stuff like that. But
Kiss, I really don't know what to think about Kiss. You know, I really think their music is bubblegum music. It's music that when you're 11 years old, you think it's really cool, but then when you're 40, you think it's really bad. I think that's the problem with Kiss.
But yeah, Kiss was, me and Larry were like super, I don't know how many times I was Gene Simmons for Halloween. Like, And I remember me and Larry soaking our tongues in vinegar and trying to stretch our tongues because we heard that Gene Simmons' tongue, he got his tongue was so long because it was so, we heard that, and we heard he had surgery and cut the, whatever the fuck it's called, that thing. But anyway, yeah, we were huge Kiss freaks.
I can't say I'm a huge Kiss fan, but I happened to get a chance to see them live for free, and it was quite a spectacle. They put on an amazing show, and it made me realize how, when it comes to live performing, it's, you know, even more about showmanship than it is talent or, you know, songwriting. So I think that's one thing that influences us, is just, you know, how important it is to put on a show.
For a 12-year-old, there's no better rock band than Kiss. I mean, they're monsters, there's fire and blood and you know, kind of kick-ass rock and roll. It's like, you know.
I liked Kiss when I was 11. Now I think it's kind of embarrassing that I ever liked them. And also this Gene Simmons guy, every interview I've seen of him, he acts like a total asshole. It's also another reason not to like their music.
It was like Saturday morning cartoons and rock and roll and, you know, Gene Simmons spit blood, for Christ's sake. It was awesome, you know. But, you know, like I said, there was a segue at a certain point towards other things, you know, and then it started to be like, maybe that's. And Kiss was one of those bands, the more I learned about them, the more I learned about the people and their inspiration for what they did, it started to really bum me out, because they were full-on businessmen from the get-go. They were out to accomplish what they did. It wasn't really an art thing for them, even though in my sick mind it was, you know. But yeah, whatever. Kiss was rad.
Oh, that's classic. Wow, great artwork. But wow, they look really, wow. They look really stupid as well. But they almost look like a modern stoner band.
I'd say the cover of this album really describes what it's all about. It's just a, you know, it's a knockout punch to the face. It's, you know, it's pain music. It's, you know, music that's meant to hit you in the face.
Yeah, Anthrax was one of those bands that I kind of discovered, like, after being really into hardcore. And starting to listen to more metal again, because I listened to metal kind of before I was really into punk rock, and then coming back out of punk rock and discovering, at the time Anthrax was kind of an underground band, you know, and I dug it, yeah. They were one of those bands that we collected records of.
Anthrax, I'm not really a metal fan either, so.
What do you think about the cover? That's not like Baby Woodrose stuff.
It's terrible, really terrible. It's so ugly that, you know, it's funny, but yeah.
I think the fist is coming from behind in his head.
From the back.
Yeah,
and through his head. But it also makes him look like a horse, kind of. I don't know. There's something weird about it. Yeah. Yeah, and Anthrax. What's the name of the other? What's that metal band who has terrible covers?
Almost every metal band.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Cannibal Corpse.
The only metal band I ever liked is Black Sabbath. So.
Of course.
There's something about the groove on this album. This that formed the basis of the next 10 albums. This is what they're doing, you know, this, but it sounds more fresh on this album, I think. But I like Queens of the Stone Age anyway, most of their stuff anyway.
Well, yeah, I saw them when I was I guess maybe 13 or 14, I saw them open for the Red Hot Chili Peppers in Maryland. And that was a really great show. I don't know if I fully got what they were all about yet, but I was like, why is this band so noisy? It's so loud and noisy, but I don't think I quite understood, you know, what they were going for yet. I more remember the film than the record, but I remember that music plays a big part in the film. You know, building the tension as Malcolm McDowell's character terrorizes society.
I've seen this soundtrack so many times. I've seen the movie, of course, but I never really listened to it. The Clockwork Orange.
It's a lot of classical music on there. Actually,
it's
only classical music.
It's a lot of Ludwig van.
Yeah.
In crazy Moog synthesizer versions in the movie, anyway.
Yeah.
Some of it.
Me and Adam both went to the Waldorf School of Baltimore. I think you've probably heard of the Waldorf School. And music and art is a big part of the curriculum. And so from the time we were, I guess, I don't know, 12 or 13, we had to choose a orchestral instrument and study that for the rest of our time there. So I played the trumpet, and you played
Clarinet, man.
And the cello, didn't you?
And the cello. Yeah, cello first. Yeah, cello.
So we definitely, I'd say we have a background somewhat in classical music. We started out playing classical instruments at the very beginning. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, we'd be lying if we said we didn't love the Doors, of course, you know. I grew up with the Doors, you know. My dad played me the Doors, and, you know, they're definitely a staple of my background. And I think this happens to be one of my favorite Doors albums.
I wouldn't, you know, say that we're just influenced by the Doors. I mean, it's a great album, but like I wouldn't pinpoint, you know, our influences down to this album or anything. Yeah.
The Doors, great album. I don't have this album at home, but I have that first, and of course I like the Doors, naturally.
Yeah, I mean, we get a lot of Doors comparisons because I think Will's voice is has a similar color and a similar intonation, but I don't think our music in general is very influenced. I think it's more the energy, maybe, and the drama of our music is influenced by the Doors. Like the Door, like a great example is "When the Music's Over," which is one of the best Doors songs of all time. The way the dynamic between, you know, bringing it down really slow and then just exploding. You know, I think it's one of our favorite things to do with music.